Welcome to episode number 23 of the Mastering Marriage podcast, where our goal is to strengthen, unite, and restore your marriage. Hey everybody, my name is Amanda Taylor, and together with my husband David, we are the co-founders of MendOurMarriage.com. And our goal is to break the back of divorce by bringing married couples together to be accountable, keep the passion alive, and expose the hidden issues that try to rip marriages apart. And we are back in the booth today. And of course, I'm here, Amanda Taylor, and I'm here with my hubby, my boo-ski, David.
Hey guys, welcome. This is episode number 23. So we getting up there. Yeah, we are, So we appreciate you guys tuning in to the Mend Our Marriage podcast.
And all the awesome feedback.
Yes,
reviews.
We've been getting some really good reviews. And don't front. I haven't forgot about you guys. If you've emailed me the photos and I haven't gotten back to you yet, I see y'all. I got y'all. So don't worry. You're gonna get the book for free. But we do want to just take the time to say thank you for all of the support, for all of the kind words, the prayers, for the shares, for the likes, for everything that you guys are doing. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, and so today this podcast is brought to you on behalf of MendOurMarriage.com. And the goal of the site is to break the back of divorce.
Snap, crackle.
That's all we want to do is end divorce. If we can save one marriage, we've done our job, And so
That's right.
we appreciate our members, those who have decided to join with us on this front, on the front line of this fight to break the back of divorce. Thank you for the members. Thank you for the readers of our blog. Just thank you guys all the way around. How about that?
Yeah. Right.
And today, obviously, on Fridays we aren't doing a listener submitted question. We're actually going to talk about a topic. And today we're going to talk about communication.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. And it's big because actually communication is the number one concern that we hear from marriages, from married couples.
Right.
That's the number one concern is faulty communication. When we did our survey, that was the number one thing that we got back was communication concerns. And so don't take it lightly because this topic is very important and it will bless you if you allow it. And today I'm going to kind of put my hand into my my counseling bag just put my hand in my bag of tricks, and I'm gonna pull some stuff out, and we're gonna talk intently about communication, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So, what you think, babe? You ready to jump in?
I think so too.
All right. Well, and Mandy's gonna do what she do. She's gonna add some value and ad lib. But I'll take the steering wheel a little bit on this one. But baby, I'm gonna need you to bring in the rear. Okay? You got my back?
I'll do it. I got you.
All right. So let's jump back in. As you heard me say, I'm hyped because I like so sometimes I get turned up.
I know.
I'm turned up.
You like to talk. That's
Okay.
right.
Anyway, communication issues are, like I said, the number one concern for married couples. And for some reason, this is funny, but most people expect that marriage is supposed to make you a better communicator. For some reason, people think that they have this idea that when they get married, the communication is going to be all blissful and you're going to whisper sweet nothings and always be able to think, finish the sentence of your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in year 15 or 20 or 30, but, maybe not. Actually, I've learned this, that that marriage actually makes you sometimes a worse communicator.
At least in the beginning.
Well, no, not just in the beginning. And I've had couples that have come to my office after 16 years of marriage, and they communicate worse after 16 years than they did on day one. Because, on day one, you in the honeymoon, everything is, you ain't trying to say nothing
well, I guess
to
I'm
offend
talking
nobody.
About after the honeymoon, in the beginning, when you're trying to work out the kinks, if you have tools like these and you apply them.
Yeah, well, that, most people aren't blessed with that,
But they are now, so they not take them that long.
Yeah, but hopefully it don't. But for most people, I've found that it doesn't matter how long you've been married, communication still sucks.
Right.
And so...
Or it's at least, At least not as
No,
fluid.
no, it sucks. I'll just be honest. We gotta be real. Communication often, and like I said, we putting the realness out.
Oh no, that's what's up.
And here's the thing that, like, what I've found is that it either makes you a worse communicator or it exposes the flaws that you currently have in your communication style. And if you want to be nice, I'll say it that way, that marriage often exposes your communication flaws. How about that? That make you feel better, baby?
No, I guess I was trying to cover everybody where they were.
We're going to cover everybody. Don't worry.
Some of it sucks. Some of it just needs improvement.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all love us. I'm just keeping it real. But anyway, here's the thing. Having an expectation that your spouse should be able to communicate on your wavelength only sets the marriage up for disappointment and frustration.
Exactly.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Actually, let's talk about the history of communication, not the history of mankind's communication, but why communication is so important and where it actually comes from.
Right.
You want to do that a little bit? We're going to dance in the past.
Okay.
You ever did that? We went back to the past?
Back to the Future?
No, that's the future.
Oh.
Going to the past.
But that movie came out.
Anyway, y'all got it. We distracted. Pray for us. Anyway, so here's the thing. We develop our communication habits in our childhood. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right?
Right.
Some kids learn to be more vocal to get what they want. Mm-hmm. Take single, like kids that were raised, they didn't have any siblings. Mm-hmm. They are a little bit more vocal. Some kids learn that speaking out could result in discipline and in pain. Mm-hmm. And so they hold it in. Some kids, mostly boys, learn that if you communicate a lot or express your emotions and needs a lot, that's considered girly,
right,
or feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And so they learn these habits at a young age, how to and how not to communicate. Mm-hmm. And to them it's right, but that doesn't mean it's healthy.
Right.
So I just want to kind of put that out there right now, that we learn our habits, our communication habits, when we're young. In any case, though, the habits that we form as we grow become amplified when you get married.
Yes, they do.
So they don't change the moment you say I do, they become amplified. Mm-hmm. So if you were a poor communicator when you were single, you're going to be even more poor. Is it poorer? Is that a word? Poor? You're going to be more poor of a communication when you get married, because it amplifies it. Mm-hmm. It almost kind of corners your issues, and you are kind of faced to deal with them. Because remember, you guys, we talked about your spouse is your reflection. Right. So they often reflect back to you the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Right. And so that's something to remember. Just because you get married ain't gonna make you a better communicator. Okay.
That's right.
Often we communicate with our spouse in a way that we are more comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, as an example, when Mandy and I first started off our trek in marriage, I was a very brash, like upfront, in-your-face communicator. Yeah. I was a coach to Mandy because that's my style of communication. I like when people are like straight to the point, honest, speak off the cuff, but tell me what you really feel. I like that. Mm-hmm. But that was too much for Mandy. And not that saying she couldn't handle it, but that was not her communication style.
No, I couldn't handle what he was dishing out.
Okay, I was trying to help you, but okay.
No, you don't need to help me because over the years we've grown, and that has adjusted, and you communicate better.
But I wasn't always this good. Even as a therapist, I wasn't always a good communicator to my wife. Mm-hmm. And so because I was used to, and I was more, and I still am most comfortable when people are just tell me what you really want. Mm-hmm. Don't beat around the bush. Just get straight to the point.
Don't do too much explaining.
But Mandy is the complete opposite. I mean, like the complete other side of the coin. She's going to explain and explain.
I might repeat it a couple times.
Oh, my Jesus. Y'all praying. I hope y'all. And so, but I would often go to her and communicate to her the way I was most comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And instead of helping us, it actually drove a wedge between us. Mm-hmm. And it caused Mandy to see me as this tyrant, as this dictator, as this domineering figure. And it just didn't work for us.
Because I come from a family where we were more emotional.
Preach on it.
We were more emotional with our approach. We weren't as direct, just like blunt with things. Mm-hmm. We were pretty honest with each other, but, it was more, I don't want to say sugar-coated, but it was a nicer approach. And so when I got with David, it was different because David was just like very blunt.
No sugarcoats. We don't put no sugarcoats on
and
nothing.
again, and I'm not saying lying, but it was just that it was very direct and sometimes blunt and harsh.
And I didn't take into consideration her emotions.
Right, and I didn't feel love from him as like a spouse. It was like he said, a dictator or a coach.
Yeah.
So.
And it didn't help us. And so I had to learn, as difficult as it was for me, how to communicate the way Mandy needed me to communicate.
Right.
And vice versa.
And I had to learn, too, not to be so emotional about,
everything.
About everything. Yes, I had to learn how to make sure I was listening very well, and then I was able to communicate that I heard what he said, I understood what he said, and then talk about, getting understanding for myself.
Because I ask a lot of questions, and I always ask why, and I always try to look for the core.
And I wasn't used to that.
Yeah, and so I jumped right in trying to learn Mandy's core because I wanted to study my wife, and it was a little too much.
And I mean, it was just, again, the approach and the way he communicated.
Yeah.
If he would have came and, we could have laid together and held hands and all those different things, and he wanted to look inside my soul, I probably would have just bared it all, would have fell out. But it was like, I want to know, and you should know this. And so it was just like drill sergeant, and I couldn't, it was just not too good then.
And the point of it is, because, and we say this because I communicated to Mandy the way I was most comfortable.
Right.
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And often that's what you will find in your marriage. I guarantee if you look at your marriage right now, you're communicating to your spouse in a way that you're more comfortable and most comfortable communicating. Mm-hmm. Very rarely are you communicating their style of communication. It's very similar to speaking their love language. Mm-hmm. Very rarely will you come into the relationship speaking their love language.
Unless it's the same.
Unless it's the same. But and even still, even if it's the same, I guarantee you're going to have a different dialect.
That's
We may both have physical contact as our love language, but I may express it completely different than Mandy.
Right.
And so it's important, and we're talking about these because it's very important to understand that your spouse comes from a different background, and I know it's basic, but I got to say it. It comes from a different background, a different way of seeing, and their perception of how the world works is completely different, or probably was completely different than yours coming into the relationship.
Exactly.
And all that affects their communication style.
Right.
All that.
And we just say always just be prepared. We say be prepared because, of course, those of you who are newlyweds, right now you're like, not experiencing that right now. But we want you to keep your eyes and ears open. Not saying that you're bound for destruction, but we're just saying you're merging two worlds together.
Yes,
so you're going to bump heads. That's a part of growth.
Yes.
That's a part of the pruning process.
Yes.
So just be aware of that and go ahead and be proactive now.
Whoa. You jumping in.
Whoa, hey,
you jumping in. She jumping in, but that's good. And let me take one step back and talk about the merging of two worlds.
Yes.
Because that's what happens when you're married.
Exactly.
1 + 1 = 1. Yeah, and so two people become one, which is, I don't know what type of math that is.
It's God math.
That's that stoichiometry. You'll know about that. That's
Holy Ghost.
Some of my scholars know about stoichiometry. I hated that crap. But anyway.
That's the holyometry.
The holyometry. The agapeometry.
Yes.
Anyway, that wasn't as good as yours. I like yours better.
Holyometry.
But anyway, so just think about it. You're fusing two communication styles to produce one brand new communication styles. And in the process, there's going to be tons of conflict and tons of tension. Mm-hmm. It's part of it. So if you feel discouraged because you keep bumping heads, that's part of the communication merging process. Mm-hmm. Don't feel discouraged because that's part of the growth process, right? If you plant a seed in the ground, it's got to break through the husk before it can even grow. Right. And it's even got to break, not just through that, but it's got to grow through the dirt. So there's going to be a lot of friction when that little stalk starts to grow up. Mm-hmm. And think of your communication like that. There's going to be friction. You're going to come up against stuff that's weighing you down, and you're going to have to grow through it. Mm-hmm. But as long as you stay persistent, you'll make it.
That's right.
Let's talk about 3 levels of communication, because Mandy was jumping into that. She was thirsty.
I got hype.
Turned up. But we're going to talk about 3 levels of communication, because knowing and understanding these 3 levels will get your marriage and your communication in your marriage out of a lot of issues. Okay? So let's talk about the first level of communication. It's called proactive communication. And proactive communication is exactly what you probably imagine it to be. It's talking about issues and things before they become issues.
Right.
It's having enough insight and foresight to see that this may be an issue, and we're going to deal with it before it becomes an issue. So before someone becomes defensively attached to an issue, we deal with it. Before it's offending or offensive to me, we deal with it. And that way we decrease the odds of us having a lot of negative conflicts in the marriage. And so being proactive about your communication is the number one thing that you want to think about. You want to always be looking to deal with issues before they become issues, like in advance.
Right.
That means that you have to constantly be communicating.
And constantly be educating yourself.
And constantly looking to help the other person.
Yes.
Yeah. And so just think about that. Proactive communication. The second level is reactive communication. Reactive communication is where you respond to issues after they have already become issues. I bet this is where most people are. They're either this level or the next one. I hope you ain't in the next one, but most people may be there too. But I know you're at least in reactive communication if you're responding to issues after they have become issues. So I walk in the bedroom, and we've done this before, and not this exact scenario, but I've had clients that have done this. They walk in the bedroom, and there's a wet towel on the bed. And so they go and they get upset with their spouse because they don't like wet towels on the bed. And then they come to me after, the marriage starts to spiral, and I say, well, this is what you should do. Is if you don't like wet towels on the bed, communicate that to your spouse before you ever see a wet towel on the bed. Let them know in advance. That way you don't have any invisible expectations.
Right.
Because a lot of the reason why we react in our communication style is because we have assumptions and expectations that we automatically expect the other person to know. Remember I talked about earlier, just because you get married, that doesn't enhance or improve your communication. Most people think that their expectations now become y'all's expectations. That's not true. What you think about that, baby?
I want to ask you one question.
Oh, okay.
So in that particular situation, what if they already said it and the person keeps doing it?
Yeah. Now that's another situation.
Okay.
Because if I express something to you that's problematic and you still do it, then I have to question whether or not you completely understood what I was communicating to you. Because
or you took me seriously.
Well, see, and I don't. To me, that's picking fights. I would go a step deeper and say, instead of getting offended and thinking that you didn't listen and take me serious, I would say maybe this person didn't understand what I meant or why this is important to me. Because if you don't understand, I have to believe, and this is what we teach people, I have to believe that you have my best interest at heart. So if I automatically jump to conclusions and say, well, you ain't taking me serious, then I'm picking a fight. But if I say maybe this person did not understand me, so let me communicate to them in a way that they understand, then maybe they'll know that there's a reason why I don't like wet towels on the bed. And because they understand that and because they have my best interest at heart, they'll be more likely to oblige.
Right, so an example might be, just really quickly, babe, I don't like wet towels on the bed because it makes the bed smell moldy.
Now, pause right there. Do you see what she just did? She went into explaining why instead of just saying, don't put wet towels on the bed. Exactly. Most people say, don't put wet towels on the bed. But they don't go on to say what you were about to say. Can you finish?
I was just going to say, it makes the bed smell moldy. And I know that we both like to have a fresh bedroom. And so that I can make sure that we keep the room fresh and smelling really clean. If you could really help me out by making sure not to put the wet towels on the bed, that would really be awesome.
That's proactive communication, because you explained why, and now it's up to me to be responsible for the information that you just gave me.
Right.
And I may mess up once or twice, but at least I have that information. And I am able to do what I need to do with it in a responsible manner.
Right.
But,
and just knowing that we need to give each other grace,
Yeah.
especially if that's a habit that I had when I was single, that I
Exactly.
did every day
Exactly.
for 5 or 6 years.
Which is another thing that we got to remember. Being proactive is all about also extending that grace card.
Exactly.
And always assuming the good instead of assuming the bad. I don't know why as humans we always assume the negative, but you can assume the positive. You can do that.
I think it's just because of things that we're dealing with too sometimes.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know. But I mean, it's okay sometimes to pick up the towel and put it up for them.
Yeah, that's proactive.
Yeah.
You see the towel?
I'm not saying do it every time, but I'm saying instead of complaining and rolling your
Hey,
eyes about it.
let's use a real life situation.
Okay.
I like to make sure that lights are off in the house. Mandy sometimes forgets to this day. And so there are days where she'll leave her closet light on, and I'll just go and turn it off for her. But then there are days where I'll ask her, babe, you in your closet? No, there go, well, she's not. But, babe, you somebody in your closet?
That's his way to remind me, which is a kind of a comical way instead of him yelling and snapping. So be creative.
Yeah, yeah. And so just remember, though, that, I mean, it's part of the growing process. You are going to have to learn the other person's communication style and learn how to communicate that to them. Let's go to level 2. We talked about level 2.
Good. I know we spent a lot of time
there,
that's
good.
But I think that was some good nuggets.
Yeah, because we was already on radioactive, right? Did we say that?
Radioactive.
Oh, no, not 3. I'm sorry, reactive. I'm tripping. You know why? Because my battery just said it's about to die, and so I just got kind of panicked on my tablet, and so I just lost my track. Okay, I'm back. But reactive communication is all about a person responding to an issue after they have already become an issue. Radioactive communication is what, babe?
That's where there is an issue that you can't touch because the other person will get hurt. And this type of communication causes the most pain in marriages.
And this is the type of communication that you don't want to have. Those topics that you just can't touch.
Right.
You know, like...
That means that the trust has been diminished so much to where, you know, the person doesn't really trust that you're going to hear them and that you're going to honor what they're saying. So then that's when the walls come up and, you know, you really can't, nobody is communicating and nothing is getting accomplished or understood. Yeah,
then that's said perfect, because radioactive communication is all about taking up a defensive stance.
Exactly.
And if you're guarding yourself from being hurt, that means that you have not become vulnerable enough to extend love.
Yes.
And radioactive communication means that you guys did not take a proactive stance on any of the serious matters, and you just kind of left them floating out there. Exactly. And they probably have gotten tripped up or poked so many times that now you don't want to even bring them out.
Right.
So we're not going to talk about, you know, my weight problems. Or we're not going to talk about my smoking habits. Or we're not going to talk about the fact that, yes, I did have an affair. We're not going to even talk about it. We just, it's in the past. We're going to leave it back there. Why you keep trying to bring up past stuff, right? If you hear that or you say that, that means that you're communicating in a radioactive manner.
Right.
So if you ever have heard or have said, we're not going to talk about it, it's in the past, why you keep trying to bring it up, you're sitting on radioactive ground.
Exactly.
And you want to make sure that you don't have your tush on something that's going to burn you.
Going to explode.
Because it will burn you. So let's talk about how to get proactive communication. I'm going to give you 4 steps briefly, and then we can wrap this thing up.
All right.
We're giving some nuggets.
It's been a good show.
Juicy nuggets. So there are 4 goals, or there are 4 steps to obtaining proactive communication.
What are those, babe?
Glad you asked. Did I just cuss? Glad you.
No, you said ask.
Okay, it sounded like I cussed.
Well, did you?
I disciplined myself.
Oh, Lord.
No, I'm joking. But anyway, step number 1 is this: clear out all of the radioactive issues. That means that if there are issues or conversations or topics that you just have not discussed, don't keep them lurking beneath the surface.
Give them real quick a couple ways to do that.
Just, hey, you know that issue that we was trying to talk about last week that we kept sweeping under the rug, you know, about infidelity, or your Facebook friends that keep messaging you that you keep denying? We need to talk about that.
If you want, pretty much in a nutshell, if you want to resolve these issues, set a time during the week, once a week.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Chill, homie.
Sorry. I'm going on again.
Just at least read the notes first before you get the yapping.
I'm ready to help somebody. I'm jumping ahead, y'all.
Yeah, but okay, so step number 1 is clear out all of the radioactive issues. Because she's turned up. Okay, step number 2 is this: stop reacting to issues and don't keep arguing over the same issues. Mm-hmm. So if you notice that you're stuck in a rut and you keep arguing over the same stuff, last week y'all talked about it, this week y'all talked about it,
and having
tomorrow,
the same reaction over the same thing,
then that means that there's something or some place that you're still reacting to. Instead of being proactive and actually dealing with it, you're just sweeping it under the rug and waiting for it to resurface.
And if you want something to change, you have to change your reaction.
You have to change, because your reaction is the only thing you're responsible for.
Right.
E plus R equals O. Remember that. E plus R equals O. I use this with my coaching clients all the time. Event plus response equals outcome. Mm-hmm. E is the event, R is the response, O is the outcome. So your response, though, is the only thing that you can affect and change.
That's right.
And so you are responsible for how you react. Okay? Remember that. You can't blame it on somebody else and say they got me mad, or he got me, or she got me mad, or she made me mad, or she made me feel a certain way.
You have to take a stance of responsibility instead of blame.
Because no one can control your emotions. Absolutely. Even God can't control your emotions. You have free will. So if you react a certain way, that's because you chose to react a certain way. Okay? I just want to empower you with that. Okay? Step number 3 is this, and this is an important step. Have a vision and planning retreat once a year to establish clear dialogue and agreement. Okay? Now, I understand that this may be a little far-fetched, so for some of you guys who are willing, we're actually going to, when we do our retreat next year, in 2015, we're gonna use this. We're going to actually do one of these things there to demonstrate it. And everybody's going to participate in it. But a vision and planning retreat is so valuable to your marriage. Even if it means you guys are going to elope for a weekend, just the two of you guys, to really seriously talk about your marriage, develop a vision, develop a mission and vision plan for your marriage. That's something that you absolutely have to have. And remember, we said that communication, when two people come into a marriage, you're fusing communication. So that means that there are two styles of communication that have to become one.
Right.
And that's why you have to have a vision statement and a mission statement, because that's the foundation. That's like your your constitution. You know, that's where your bylaws for your wedding, for your marriage, what is illegal, what is legal, what goes, what doesn't go, that's all in your mission statement. And you're bound by that. So develop a vision and mission statement for your marriage. Plan a retreat once a year. Step number 4 is this, and this is probably the most important step.
That's why I was so hyped to say it.
That's why she was hyped. Have a regular time of communicating face-to-face without any distractions on a weekly basis. This is where you get to have open and honest communication. So face-to-face, no distractions, no kids, no cell phones, no text messages, no Instagram.
I'm just going to put it out here like this. I know all of y'all shut everything down to watch Scandal. A lot of y'all. Okay? Y'all put on Facebook, tweet, everything. Don't call me during Scandal because I'm not going to answer. We need to put the same type of effort into taking out time with our spouses to work on our marriages. So I just want to put that out there.
No, that's
and
real.
Football and basketball.
That's
I don't care
real.
what you got to do. You're going to put stuff aside to watch those things and focus on it. We need to do the same thing with our spouses.
No, how about this? You put your focus aside to wake up and go to work every day.
Sure do.
You know, and I believe personally that your marriage is the most important relationship that you ever have.
Aside from your relationship with God.
Yeah, obviously. Far more important than your relationship with your job and your boss, even though they're paying your bills. You know, and so you got to remember, you have to put in time and put in effort to make sure that your communication is strong. If not, you can't expect it to be strong. You can't expect, just because y'all got married, for y'all to have awesome communication.
Exactly.
You have to practice at it.
Exactly.
What you think, baby?
And you also have to understand that people grow and change. That was something that I can't, if David don't mind me calling him out.
Call me out, baby.
I remember in the beginning, you know, when we were going through, David would kind of get at me like, how you gonna change? You said you was gonna do thus and so. In the beginning, you can't change. But he grew and realized that we all are going to change. You know, the things that, you know, I was doing before in certain capacities, maybe in the house, or things that I want to do for myself, they change as I get older. And he respects that now, and we work together. Versus, oh, well, when we got married, you said you were going to do thus and so. Well, things change.
And you know why I said that? Now, hear me. The reason I said that is because our communication was not merged. And I was trying to get her to conform to my style. And that was wrong. And I apologize. From the heart. Brother, apologize. From the heart. What's that off of? Who that? But anyway, so just know that the goal is not to get anybody to conform to anybody else's communication style. You guys have to develop your own brand new communication style for your household.
And keep it open and honest.
Keep it open and honest. Yeah. And that's, I mean, I don't know how to say it more than that. You got to keep your communication open and honest.
I'm just going to say this. This is too hot for the top 4 agenda. I mean, something I'm going to add in here. Okay. You need accountability and support system.
Yes.
During this time.
Yes.
So you don't have to wait until something is wrong or radioactive in order to have strong couples around you who are optimistic, positive, and objective. So do that at the beginning of your relationship or wherever you are. Get with some people. Of course, we have our membership community. If you need to get
Come
with
join us, yeah.
Join us. We'll be here with you, and we'll get through. We'll break the back of divorce together.
Yeah, we were just on a call today with one of our deluxe members,
Yes.
and we were talking about communication.
Yes,
you
we
know,
were.
we put some things in place for them, and that's what it's all about. It's all about helping, and that's what Mend Our Marriage is all about.
And
this
sometimes, I'm sorry, David, and sometimes you need people who are not right next to you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of you don't know us personally, and even if you do, we're far away. And sometimes you need somebody that's a little detached from your everyday reality to be more objective.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, I you know what I
keep
think
that
that's
in mind.
I think that's a good place to kind of land this plane.
Yep.
Just know that the more and the better you communicate, the more stronger your foundation will be for your marriage.
Yep, you have to have a healthy foundation.
You got to have a healthy foundation, but don't expect it to be healthy by default.
Exactly.
It's not going to be healthy by default. You have to make it healthy.
Exactly.
You know, it's just like your body. You don't expect your body to be healthy on its own. You have to do things to make your body healthy, like eating right, drinking right, exercising, rest, low stress. So you got to do the same thing with your marriage.
That's right.
It's a process, and it's a commitment that you have to have. But we're here to help.
Yes, we are.
But on that note, guys, we will end the plane or land the plane here. And just say thank you for your attention. I mean, we made it out in 30 minutes.
Wow.
Because we was going to do 45, but we made it out in 30 minutes. And I think you guys have enough to chew on.
Yes.
You may have to go back and rewind this and take some notes, especially about the 3 communication levels or levels to communication, and then the 4 steps to proactive communication.
4 plus 1.
Yeah, you want to take some notes on that one.
Yes.
But we would like to hear from you. So
Please.
submit your reviews in iTunes, submit your ratings in iTunes. This weekend, so this is going out Friday. I expect by Sunday to be at least the top 1 or 2 podcasts in iTunes. We made it to the top 4 last weekend.
That's what we gunning for.
So we need at least, just give me 10 of y'all that's going to submit a review. 10 of y'all, please, because if we can do that, we will be in that top space by Sunday. I can almost guarantee
That would
it.
be awesome.
That would be very awesome. So, but anyway, guys, if you have any questions, email us, leave a message, leave a voicemail. Hey, and we still need more questions. So keep your questions coming. We appreciate y'all just submitting them.
We love y'all.
We love y'all, and we're out.
All right.
Deuces.